Hello student, today we are going to learn classification of boiler, steam boiler. Boilers are classified on the basis of the following. Number 1, according to location of boiler axis. Horizontal boiler. Horizontal boiler means when the axis of boiler cell is horizontal, then the boiler is called horizontal boiler. Horizontal boiler can be inspected and repaired easily, but occupies more space, floor space. Example: Lancashire boiler, locomotive boiler. Next, vertical boiler. If the axis is vertical, the boiler is called vertical boiler. Vertical boiler occupies less floor area. Example: Cochrane boiler. Next, inclined boiler. If the axis of the boiler is inclined, then it is called inclined boiler. Example: Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Number 2, according to the flow medium inside the tube. Fire tube boiler. What is fire tube boiler? The boiler in which the flue gases, hot gases, are inside the tube and water is surrounding the tubes are called fire tube boiler. Example of fire tube boiler: Lancashire boiler, locomotive boiler, Cochrane boiler, Cornish boiler. Okay. Next, water tube boiler. When water is inside the tube and the hot gases are outside, the boiler is called water tube boiler. Example: Babcock and Wilcox boiler, Benson boiler, Stirling boiler, etc. Number 3, according to furnace position. Internally fired boiler. When the furnace of the boiler is inside its dome or shell, is called internally fired boiler. Most of the fire tube boiler are internally fired. Example: Lancashire boiler, Cochrane boiler, etc. Next, externally fired boilers. If the furnace is outside the dome, outside the boiler shell, the boiler is called externally fired boiler. Example, Babcock and Wilcox boiler, Stirling boiler, etc. Okay. Number 4, according to boiler pressure. Low pressure boiler, when inside pressure of the boiler 3.5 to 10 bar, then it is called low pressure boiler. Example, Cochrane boiler, Cornish boiler, etc. Next, medium pressure boiler, when boiler pressure 10 to 25 bar inside the boiler, then it is called medium pressure boiler. Example, Lancashire boiler, locomotive boiler, etc. Next, high pressure boiler, when boiler pressure inside the boiler greater than 20 bar, then it is called high pressure boiler. Example, Babcock and Wilcox boiler, Lemont boiler, Benson boiler, etc. Number 5, according to the draft use. What is draft? Boiler need supply of air for conversion of fuel. This is the draft. First, natural circulation. Natural circulation draft boiler means if the circulation of air is provided with the help of a chimney, the boiler is known as natural draft boiler. Example, simple vertical boiler, Lancashire boiler, etc. Next, artificial draft boiler, when either a forced draft fan. Forced draft fan means fan placed below the boiler gate, or an induced fan draft. Induced fan means if fan is placed in between the boiler and the chimney, or both are used. Both means forced draft and induced draft, both are used to provide the flow of air. The boiler is called artificial draft boiler. Example, Babcock and Wilcox boiler, locomotive boiler, etc. Number 6, according to boiler mobility. First, stationary boiler, when the boiler is fixed at one location and cannot be transported easily, it is known as stationary boiler. Stationary boiler is used in power plant and in industrial process work. Example, Cochrane boiler, Babcock and Wilcox boiler, Lancashire boiler, etc. Next, portable or mobile boiler. If the boiler can be moved from one location to another, it is known as portable or mobile boiler. For mobile boiler, it is mainly to drive the railway engine. Example, locomotive boiler. Okay. Next, marine boiler. Marine boiler, the boiler which can work on the surface of water, are called marine boiler. Used on ship. Okay. Number 7, according to number of tubes. First, single tube boiler. A boiler having only one fire tube or water tube is called single tube boiler. Example, Cochran boiler, Cornish boiler, etc. Next, multi-tube boiler. The boiler having two or more fire tube or water tubes is called multi-tube boiler. Example, locomotive boiler, Lancashire boiler, Babcock's and Wilcox boiler. Okay. Number 8, according to method of water circulation. Number 1, natural circulation. If the circulation of water takes place due to difference in density caused by temperature of water, the boiler is called natural circulation boiler. That means by natural convection current, that is buoyancy force. Example, Babcock's and Wilcox boiler, Lancashire boiler, etc. In most of the steam boiler, natural circulation boiler are used. Next, force circulation. When the circulation is done with the help of a pump, mainly centrifugal pump, the boiler is known as force circulation boiler. Use of force circulation is made in high pressure boiler. Example, Velox boiler, Lemon boiler, Loeffler boiler, etc. Okay. Number 9, according to type of fuel use. First, solid fuel. The boiler in which heat energy is obtained by the conversion of solid fuel like coal is known as solid fuel boiler. Next, liquid and gaseous. A boiler using liquid or gaseous fuel for burning is known as liquid or gaseous fuel. Hot waste gases as byproduct of other chemical process is used as gaseous fuel. Okay. Next, electric boiler in which electrical energy is used for generation of heat is called electrical energy boiler. Okay. Next, nuclear energy fuel boiler. Boiler in which nuclear energy is used for generation of heat is called nuclear energy fuel boiler. Okay, it is clear, my student? Thank you.